Welcome back to the Inner Temple. We are back here at the Mystic Mandala Studios. We took a break for the summers, and not only that, I think one of my podcasts has shared that our air conditioning was not working, and it took 2 months to fix this here at the Mystic Mandala Studios. And I am so delighted to come back. And we all know that we do this podcast because there are so many people that I'm interested to talk to meet, to learn their story, and to see how their lives have been so instrumental in supporting the life journeys and paths of so many other people. Now, these could be in many different professions. And season 2 of the podcast, The Inner Temple, is going to highlight people such as Dr. Tyler that we have in our studio today. Now, I want to talk about Dr. Tyler. He's a chiropractic and he's a lifelong student and educator. Both together is not easy, but yes, he has blended it in because he understood one thing: a facet of human transformation is so important if you bring consciousness, if you bring awareness to it. So in the studios today, we have Dr. Tyler. He has worked for over a decade with his organization here in Dallas that he's going to share a lot of information about, and to talk to us about healing, talk to us about the nervous system, talk to us about energy, about awareness, and above all, the human capacity to heal, to adapt, and to restart life with an evolution through love, through patience, and through self-kindness. Dr. Tyler's journey has been always prompting him to find that intersection between spirituality and science. And you got to speak to him, to hear him speak, to learn from him, to really start believing, because all of this is a belief system. Two people given the same medication for the same ailment will behave very differently with this medication because one is willing to transform and the other is not. So, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to the Inner Temple, where we are going to get insights into who we can become if we embody those principles in the way we actually live. Dr. Tyler, welcome.
Thank you so much, Vijay. I'm excited to be here. Amazing, beautiful space in so many ways. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. You know, we have been working with you for the past 10 years.
Yes.
And people probably are aware that we host the Holistic Festival of Life and Wellness.
Yep.
And now we are in our 12th or 13th year, I forget. And we know you as one of the first vendors that came in to help heal and encourage. What a journey.
Yes. It's been amazing. Yeah, I love all the work and effort and conscientiousness that you have put into creating this amazing community space to be able to connect to so many different perspectives and healing. And it's been huge and instrumental in just our, creating space for us to be able to connect with other members of the community, be able to exchange. It's been amazing to make so many friends across different disciplines of the people who've been attending there, to also connect with the public. You have obviously set a really high standard in terms of the energetic and the intention that you bring to this space that just attracts a wonderful community. And so we thank you for allowing us to be a part of that and trusting us to be a part of that for as long as we have.
Brilliant. The idea for the Holistic Festival of Life is rooted in the word holistic. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's why the practice that you have for helping people heal is very crucial to our endeavor.
Yes.
And I think that as a society, we are going further and further away from our capacity to understand change, transformation, and healing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I would love to speak to you about.
Excellent.
That there are so many people, so many of us who are used to everything being instant. We live in a world which is instant gratification, doom scrolling. You don't like one video, you don't like one reel, move on to the next. It's almost mechanical, it's almost heartless, and it is always for our own entertainment rather than healing.
Right.
And I think that we have strayed away because healing requires effort before transformation can happen, and the capability to see on a daily what changes can I do to ultimately get to where I am.
Absolutely.
And I guess my first question is, why would someone find you? In what circumstances people find you, Tyler, to come and work on their healing? What prompts them?
So it's anyone really looking for a change in their health and well-being is oftentimes where we first catch people. And or when they finally hear about our office. And what's really incredible about that, I mean, when we look at the healing journey, there's so many different stages of that journey and different levels as we grow and develop and become more aware and our aperture opens for life. It's like that experience just, it deepens, it enriches, it expands. And so those who come into our office looking for help, oftentimes they may be going through different challenges in their life in terms of like physical pain, discomfort, but also in what we do, we really acknowledge that there's no aspect of you and your life that's separate from the others, physically, mentally, emotionally, all spiritually, everything is really all connected. And it's all connected through the lens of something called the nervous system. And what I love about the nervous system and the context of this conversation, what we get to have today, I call the nervous system the bridge between the mystic and the mundane. It's really the connection of what allows us to recognize our wholeness and beingness in the universe, but it's also what allows us to be alive on this planet as a human being and everything in between. And so oftentimes when people first meet us, they're usually experiencing some type of like challenge going on in their body or in some aspect of their nervous system. And so when they come into our office, we're really about evaluating, well, what's going on in the health of your nervous system? Because your nervous system controls every single aspect of your life, from how you physically function, meaning like your muscle tone, your balance, your posture. This could also mean your organ functions, your hormone regulation, even the immune response that your body is having is all based on signals that the nervous system is having, thus sending a response through the body. And what's really fascinating is that all that's based on perception. So if your nervous system is in a state of distress, meaning that it feels like it doesn't have the capacity, the energy, the bandwidth to adapt to different stressors that are going on in life, then its job to keep you alive and safe is to minimize your experience and expression to conserve energy in order to survive. Well, that could show up as tension in the body. It could show up as pain. It could show up as hormonal dysregulation or immune dysfunction. It could show up in a lot of different ways. And so, again, people come in, they have these symptoms that are showing up. And part of the talking about not just being chiropractor, but also educator is recognizing that whatever your body's doing, the symptoms that's showing up is not an accident. The symptoms are just reflecting that's how you're currently functioning. And so we assume that your body is highly intelligent. You have this community of trillions of individual living beings called cells that are all coalescing and working together to organize this body that allows you to have this grounded experience here on planet Earth. Its job is to keep you safe, and that's what it's going to do. So if you're overwhelmed and now things are breaking down in some way, shape, or form, where we connect is recognizing that, okay, on one aspect, there is this innate intelligence within your body that's helping keep you alive. And if there's some type of sign or symptom that's showing up in your life, that's not the problem. That is the solution to the problem that your body feels like is really going on. So it pulls energy away from one system, sends it to another in order to get by and survive in the moment. So, like I said, pain, anytime there's pain going on there, it's really just saying, hey, the way things are working right now can't continue. We got to make a change here. And that's just the visceral part. So if that is looking at the survival part of the nervous system, that's everything that's basically associated with what's called the brainstem and down. That's not conscious. It's very subconscious. You don't have to think about your heart beating or your muscles moving, or like if you get a cut, you have to force it to heal. It just does that. It's all subconscious. But we're so much more than that too. We're also emotional beings looking at a limbic system. So our emotional brain, how we process energy and information and responses that are going on around us. The limbic system is your forever, your inner 2 or 3 year old. It doesn't make rational sense. It's just emotional. It's just part of who we are. But if our emotional system is trapped or caught in cycles of repeated pattern of, again, protection, safety, it doesn't have the bandwidth to experience a greater capacity for life, because that's really what emotion is all about. It's about the palette, or like the level of variability and complexity that we can allow ourselves to have an experience for in life. The wider our emotional bandwidth, the more different types of experiences we can have in a really constructive way. But if we've gone through experiences that, our emotional system or limbic system learned, hey, I need to protect myself from that, then it's going to minimize, which those emotions, again, based on perception still, are going to create some type of physical response in the body, some type of biochemical response, because now we're producing hormones based on that emotional experience. But also the immune system is really regulated by the emotional system. So as we're experiencing a certain amount of energy and motion or emotion, that's going to send certain chemicals to our body to activate our immune cells to either go on the attack and eliminate something that doesn't need to be there, or to go into a state of rest to allow nourishment to happen or repair. Our immune system controls all of that stuff. But again, it's being regulated by the limbic system. You start moving up the brain. Now we're looking at our conditioning, our baseline way of thinking, the apps and programs that we were programmed to survive with. Like, how do I fit in with my family? How do I fit in with my community? How do I fit in with my culture, my peers, my religion, whatever that is? In order to be accepted by the tribe, we need to be able to think and act and speak and engage with the tribe that has some type of common culture. It's not conscious. Again, this is kind of the adolescent part of our mind where we're just, again, talking and being in whatever way that allows us to gain acceptance and survive. But there's this really amazing thing that happens as we go beyond personality, which again, personality even is a way that we interact and survive within culture, community. But as we get up to the higher part of the brain, just between the eyes, the prefrontal cortex, we start actually consciously engaging. This is where we can watch ourselves think and feel and experience. We can watch ourselves have all these like really wild experiences in life, but we can see our patterns in terms of like, where are we minimizing, protecting, but also where are we craving something beyond what we've ever experienced before. And even beyond that, whenever you see certain things firing in the nervous system in such a way where there's a high level of coherence, meaning both hemispheres of the brain are working together, there's even an engagement with the heart field itself, you start having these really soulful spiritual experiences of the world. So when we look at, to make a short story long here, when we look at what's really going on in your life, all aspects of your life are regulated and facilitated through different aspects of the nervous system that are going to create different experiences based on your nervous system's capacity. Whatever is showing up in your life is because that's what you have the capacity to support. Rather than making breakdown wrong, we see it just as a call for greater assistance, more energy, more connection, but also not just to mitigate a problem, but to also begin to amplify the growth trajectory in terms of what's available in people's experience to experience more richness in life, where someone goes from like, hey, my survival right now is just about me and how I can get by, which understandable if things are breaking down. That's a beautiful place to be to make sure that you're safe. But beyond that, the actual transformation, which is where we're going, but the transformation to grow into such a way that has a greater significant impact on those around us by fully embracing and accessing our gifts and be able to share those for the betterment of others. And so anyways, to be able to see the central nervous system as the facilitator, receiver, processor, transmitter of all of these experiences. That's why what we do is to help support that exact system. Again, bridging the physical, mundane with the mystical, spiritual, higher level of awareness. And how can we live both, be here on this planet and somewhat of the planet, but of something so much more too.
Wow, I am very excited to unpack some of the things that you just shared. And every time you would come and explain one part, and I frame my question, you move on to the other part. So, yes, there's obviously a lot to unpack. And if I start from the very beginning, just to understand in a very clear dimension of us as not knowing where your work is able to help us, I'll start with the precursor of pain. I think that pain starts the awareness, like you said, that something's got to shift.
Yep.
This cannot go on anymore like this. And people constantly put themselves in that position. And now this pain can have various qualities depending on where you are sensing it. It could be emotional pain, which is not there as yet in the body. It's not yet manifested in the gross. It's still there in the subtle.
Right.
And it's going to come into the gross body if nothing is done about it.
Right.
And then there is a stage where there is actual physical pain that you're feeling. Maybe your hands are not feeling good. Maybe your feet ache, and so on and so forth. And I think that's probably an area of life, a space and time that a person wants to do something about it. And in my experience as a meditator and guiding people in their journey, people start always when it's not the right time. It's a little bit late to go back and heal. And now they have a two-part task. One is to make sure that the body is not suffering, and then also work on the initial disturbance.
Right.
And that's where, when you and I were talking last week over the email, you mentioned that change is very important, and change is something that happens either around us or to us.
Right.
And not all of us are geared to process that.
Right.
In our meditation world, Tyler, we believe in the centers of the mind as the chakras. So, and the chakras are considered to be along the spine.
Yes.
Which is, of course, one of the two parts of the central nervous system, the brain and the spine. And each chakra is connected to a certain emotion. So let us say the Muladhara, the root chakra, is associated with fear and all the emotions that arise from being afraid. The Swadhisthana, or the second chakra right below the navel, this is associated with any guilt that you're experiencing. And then all the emotions that arise, and then so on and so forth.
Yep.
You mentioned the understanding of the world through our senses. We call that the Gyanendra. Gyan means the knowledge receptor. Indra means literally the system of energy that brings you that experience. If I touch something hot, I know that it is hot. If I smell something fragrant, and this is the way that I understand my world around me. So I guess my question is that we understand that there is a psycho-spiritual element to life which manifests in the gross body.
Yep.
You get to meet people that are already having a lot of issues in health, and you don't meet them in the beginning when we can still, let's say, nip it in the bud.
Right.
How does a person, with your experience and the work that you do on the body, bring a connection to people and get them to the part where they have to go deeper into their own life? You work with the body. You can explain the nervous system. You can explain there's the spine and all the nerves, and they're going here and there, and you have the endocrine system which is connected to such and such, and these are your hormones which are dysregulated because of whatsoever reason.
Right.
But then we have the whole world of modern medicine, which is beautiful because those blood work reports can help pinpoint. But how do you prove the EQ to a person with a very high IQ?
That's an amazing question. So, to first touch on the interface, when we look at nervous system health and healing, the nervous system is the interface between energy and information. And so every sense that you're having, so earlier you were talking about the different senses, every sense that we have, it's information. Like, for example, you can see me, but what's happening is there's light energy, photon energy that's bouncing off of you. It's hitting skin in the back of my eye. And then that somehow we have a nerve receptor and that skin that then transmits a signal to a part of the brain that then creates the experience of sight and vision. It was just information, but it was also energy. And so what's neat about this is it's not just a physical experience, but then we also, as human beings, create meaning behind what it is that we're experiencing. And that meaning that we give in that experience has to do with the amount of energy available. Like I said, perception. And perception is, again, perception is how much energy are we observing information from. So when we are in a fearful, frightful perception, it means that I don't have the capacity or bandwidth to navigate this experience. So the programming says I need to minimize and survive. But if we have a tremendous amount of energy, bandwidth, capacity, same signal, same information, we see it a completely different way. We respond in a different way. We respond from a different part of our nervous system rather than a primal survival response. Now maybe we see it from a frontal, more like big picture perspective. What is the meaning and value that this is really having in my life? And so really pain, to differentiate this, we can have uncomfortable experiences, but there's a difference between pain and suffering. And whenever we're experiencing pain, again, that's letting us know that there's something going on that can't keep going or else we're going to have a breakdown. If we listen to that signal, then we can make a change. So the pain, they say, pay attention inside now as an acronym, but it's like, okay, like pay attention to what's really going on, this thing that isn't working. Now, how are you going to begin to respond? But if we are trying to avoid that uncomfortable sensation and trying to avoid it and avoid it and avoid it and avoid it, yeah, it's still there. There's like an aspect of suffering that starts happening there. And then we disconnect and dissociate from that. So now on the other side of that, we're talking about like, how do you explain EQ to a person with IQ? It's really starting to integrate the fact that, again, these things are not separate. You cannot separate the body, emotion, and mind, soul. You cannot do it. It's all an integrated experience. You affect one thing, you affect everything. So that said, oftentimes, people come in one of two camps. Either they want us to like get rid of the problem for them, which says that, again, I'm in a place of suffering. I need to protect, minimize something, a power outside of me is going to help take this away. And I understand that. It's part of the healing journey. Is it all encompassing? No, but I understand a lot of times that is a motivator to spark some type of change to happen. And like you said, change is really like, I'm looking to change a pattern, change a behavior, change a circumstance. It doesn't necessarily mean become more connected and integrated. It just says, I need to change. Something needs to be different. Get me out of this experience. And so, okay, heard, we can, in the practice that we have, we're really about helping enhance the brain's connection to the body. Because if it's been in pain, if there's been areas of like low resourcefulness, then those areas are going to be breaking down. And so what we're doing here, not through force or manipulation of the system, but really through like just very specific yet gentle guidance, helping the brain find, well, where is this stuff going on in the body, for example, that we can help the brain begin to connect with the central nervous system and start bringing more energy and resources to be able to process that experience. Now, the thing that was painful, saying I don't have enough energy to make a change or to heal or grow or integrate, all of a sudden now it starts getting that energy. Now, all the energy that was being bound to protect that area now starts kind of unwinding, becoming more liberated or unbound, and now free available energy to create shifts in other ways in someone's body, health, and life. So then all of a sudden the capacity starts to grow. And then people realize, wait a minute, I'm the common denominator in all my problems here. It's Maybe this pain was how I, have been treating my body, or how I haven't been listening to it, or the emotional pain has really been a signal to get me to pay attention to some dynamic of, some pattern or something, some habit that I've been experiencing. And the pain is there to say, okay, hey, if you keep playing these apps, this is what this is going to lead to. Not to make it bad, not to make it wrong, because it was there to keep you alive. Because clearly you survived. And if you're listening to this podcast, congratulations, you've survived. Whatever's been running in the background worked. Here you are. Now, question. This has been a habit of how you've been programmed to survive, but is this what you're necessarily choosing in terms of how you want to engage? Well, when we start to become more aware of our own capacity, we become more consciously aware and now more conscious collaborators in life in terms of what is it that we actually want to grow toward versus just getting away from, that brings on a whole new richness. Now, here's the thing about the mind. The thinking mind, that chatty part of the mind, that just is constantly going, like a radio station. We said that there's two parts of the mind. There's the chatty part, and then there's the self-reflective part. But the chatty part, its job is to narrate. So if your stomach's growling and your blood sugar drops, what do you think?
You're hungry.
You're hungry. Exactly. So you received a biochemical signal from your body, and that chatty part tuned in and said, hey, I'm hungry, created a thought around it. And so all of a sudden you start realizing that all the thoughts and emotions that you're experiencing is really just part of you assimilating information. You start realizing that, well, that narrator that's going on, it's just narrating an experience. The big shift begins to happen here when you realize that you are the master of your own destiny and you start taking accountability for all of this stuff. You can begin to see that you're observing yourself from above the thoughts, that again, you're not your thoughts, your sensations, your emotions. That's just a part of you. It's an aspect of you, but it's not an all-encompassing part of you. Well, now all of a sudden, it's again, talk about that like IQ. This is where I want to differentiate, just maybe call it like is there also like an SQ, like a spiritual quotient? We kind of see above, I don't know.
We could.
Maybe it's a thing now.
Let's coin that. Let's trademark it.
Okay, great. But just to really say that there's a higher level of observation that's going on here. You realize the thoughts that you're thinking, the story and narration has just been processing information at a certain level of available energy. The mind, if you're trying to change the mind from the level of the mind, it's going to get on its own justification loops. Because if it only has so much energy and bandwidth, the information that it's seeing is going to be static. It is what it is. And it's like you're wanting to budget things better, but you don't have more resources to assimilate into that budget. But once you have this experience of like all of a sudden the stress loops interrupt, or there's a greater connection and capacity, all of a sudden you jump up to a higher level of your brain, all of a sudden you realize these thoughts aren't necessarily real. It's just what that radio has been playing because that's what I've been tuned into. Oh my God, my job isn't to change my thoughts. It's to adjust the dial to allow myself to experience a different station. And now this is where all of a sudden it's like the value of the IQ, it's still valuable. We need it. We need a body, we need emotions, we need a mind to be able to focus. But at the same time, it's not all encompassing to who we are. More perspective becomes valuable in terms of like, oh, well, who then is the actual conscious engager? So to kind of bring that back to the body for a moment, all of a sudden you start observing your body from a different perspective. You say, well, my body is this community of living intelligence trying to keep me alive. Therefore, what if the symptom or pain wasn't the problem, but really my body's sensation or body's language to communicate because I haven't been listening. Now I have the ability to listen and to give my body what it needs. Maybe it's a supplement. Maybe it's something that it's time for it to go and needs to be cut out. Maybe it's a emotional distress pattern, energy and motion. It's emotion and expression, energy, not in motion, it's tension, something that actually needed to be felt and connected with. The whole relationship between you and your life takes a radical shift, but all of that shift happens because the nervous system had greater connection and capacity.
I get it. My next question to you is important, I guess, that most people are averse to change they don't want to change because they are trapped in their own emotional needs for quick support, and they go after the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah.
For example, Tyler, you mentioned that your blood sugar drops, you feel a little bit tired, and your stomach is growling, you're hungry. And that's obviously a function of the nervous system. There's an autonomous situation here, which your brain tells you that you got to eat something. But the mind tells you to pick out your phone, pick it up, and open your map app and see where is the nearest fast food burger joint, or where can I get some pizza. And you can literally feel that feeling that you want to eat something which is delicious. And your mind is telling you to go for delicious food rather than go right into the pantry here in our meditation studio. There's probably an apple or a banana or a mango. You don't want that. Your mind tells you that you will feel satiated if you have that burger, if you have the French fries, if you have that.
Yep.
So the mind, and it's very easy to get that. It's a craving, and it's like more like a mind need than the body need.
Right.
I always have a joke that my mind always makes me crave for chocolate cake all the time because that's something delicious, even though my body is revolting somewhere. All the trillions of cells you spoke about are complaining that, dude, we can't handle one more slice of chocolate cake. We've already been working hard to process all the ice cream that you ate over the weekend, all the desserts you've been having, and now another slice, we can't do it. The body protests.
Yep.
The mind insists, and we fall sick. Same goes for our emotional attribute of seeking the lowest hanging, emotionally available person to hear us vent, because my pain is important to me and it will get amplified in the right way for me to feel satisfied, again satiated. And hence I'm caught in this negative pattern. What advice do you have for people who are willing to change? What is the biggest obstacle in change? What have they got to do about this? And you know what? I'm going to use your advice because I'm having a battle supreme with that chocolate cake.
I talk about that at lunchtime.
Yeah. So how do we navigate this?
Stop it.
Okay. Just simple, that's it. Keep telling yourself.
Right.
Easier said than done, though.
Yeah.
You know, as someone who drinks alcohol and, you know,
Yeah.
it's a very sad thing, or addicted to any substances.
Yeah.
Stop it, won't cut it.
And
I'll try to do it.
Yeah,
though.
no, I'm messing with you. You know, in looking at what's going on a very physical, mental, emotional level, I mean, and what you're expressing right now, it's dissonance. You know, you have body, mind, emotion, soul that are kind of out of rhythm, competing messages that are going on. And those messages could be coming from different parts of you.
But they're competing, you said.
They're competing, yeah. Yeah, so it's like you have all this like static that's going on in the background of your nervous system. And so that static is going to create irritation, is going to create inflammation. And so, you know, what you're saying in terms of like people who are going for like low hanging fruit, again, not to make that wrong, that is a part of the healing journey when we're in such a primal state of survival that, again, the mind's job is just to narrate. It just has the little chatty voice. But in this case, it's not the aware mind. It's just the voice. That's like, how can I find the next burger? You know, I want immediate gratification because that's visceral. That's primal needs wanting to be met. Versus if I go have the apple banana, that's going to be better for me long term. That primal brain doesn't think like that. And so whenever we find ourselves fighting it, again, that creates a lot of dissonance. That is going to be painful. And, you know, for those coming to our office, a lot of times people have kind of graduated beyond that. They realize that they've been stuck in that cycle over and over and over again. And by the time they reach us, they realize, okay, like I was saying earlier, I'm the common denominator here. There's something that's not working. I'm stuck. And stuckness really means that you have competing strategies going on. There's a part of you that is aspirational, that's wanting to move forward, that's craving something more beyond whatever experience you've been having, physically, mentally, relationally, professionally. It's like you're stuck. But there's another part of you that says, I need to minimize and be small because that's how I know myself to be, and that's how I know I can stay alive. And so again, there's dissonance that's happening. So that said, when you notice these things go on, it's just, again, not making it wrong, just realizing like, hey, that's just a part of this. Now, talking about those competing strategies, because this is really huge.
And it's important.
Yeah. So a lot of times people want to create change. There's a difference between change. Again, change is just switching up the patterns of behavior, the organization, trying to shift the circumstances. I want to do this thing different so I can make the symptom go away. That's change. But it doesn't mean that you're any better on the other side of that, or that you're any more integrated. And so then we look at healing, and how I define healing is return to wholeness. Healing, it's like all of these different aspects of you are now starting to come into the same room. And rather than keeping them dissonant and separate, it's like you're allowing them to speak to each other in order to become more connected, have like the space for allowance to allow them to be together. So again, you can become more whole. So you're talking about like holistic, which yes, 1,000%. But what that really means isn't some natural alternative that isn't pharmacy drug related to make a change. It means becoming more integrated, more coherently you. And so that is a very different trajectory. And I mean, a lot of just even modern medicine, and for those who are looking to change, they're breaking down, they're looking to get a quick fix to get out of something. And again, not making it wrong, it's a part of it. But when we look at healing, the modern medical model does not look at healing. They look at change and symptom mitigation. So if a symptom goes away, they call it curative because you got rid of the pattern, you got rid of the symptom. But did you change the function of the system that allowed that symptom to show up? And the answer to that is no. You're returned to a prior minimal state. A lot better than dying, but what it did, it didn't fix the thing. It didn't resolve the thing, but it did buy you time. It bought you more time. But this is where, when we go into an empowered space of how can I actually be aware of what factors in my life led to that experience in my physical health with my immune system or my back or my hormones or the mental emotional patterns or even relationship dynamics, because I keep getting into the same relationship, or I can't get in a relationship, or I'm still having the same argument, or even professionally, I can't start a job or I can't make money. It's like all of these things are just apps and programs of different parts of us. Those apps and programs, our nervous system like holds those patterns in some way, shape, or form. And those things will also express through the body in a certain way. And I think there's such a beautiful reflection that you had earlier about because I don't want to forget about this. I want to integrate this now, but you're talking about the chakra system and looking at the connection through Kundalini and all of these different systems aligning and working together. It is interesting how it overlays with the spinal cord. And so when we to look at the kind of science aspect of the energetic here, it's like when we look at the spinal cord, really, like you were saying earlier, brain and spinal cord are central nervous system. It's your central processing system. Once you exit the spine, you connect with your outside environment. But this, just like the skull protects the brain extends below the skull, continues into your body. The nerve cells start up here, continue into your body. Then we call it spinal cord. So really, it's the brainal cord, okay? The spine's job, like the skull protects the brain, the spine's job is to protect the spinal cord. But it is much more complex, dynamic, sophisticated, and highly organized system than the skull. So when we look at what's going on in the central processing system, when you've gone through experiences, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, chemical, relational, professional, stresses, and traumas, which really we define that as any experience that was too much information, you didn't have the capacity to necessarily navigate, but you survived. So you just kind of lock that into a survival app and then you just keep on going. We can be playing those apps out decades later. Okay. But that app, however it's playing, is being stored somewhere in the interface between your central processing system and your environment. So before long, you're not seeing the world as it is, you're seeing the world as you are, because of how you've been conditioned to see, think, and believe and feel. So now all of a sudden you've been running these apps, creating certain types of responses, certain type of tension, certain type of biochemical process, driving certain types of thoughts and emotions. And now all of a sudden it's leading to some type of breakdown in your life. Well, but of course, the strategy that installed that app in the first place was to get you to survive. But just like craving that hamburger, you're going to go eat it. How are you going to feel 30 minutes after? Womp. It's not there. These protective trauma survival strategies aren't there to keep you ongoing. How can you be the most optimized, spiritual, impactful human being on the planet? No, it says, how can I get by until tomorrow? And now later, pain starts showing up to say, hey, I'm ready to be integrated now. I'm ready to be seen. You're not going backwards, but you've reached a space in your life that in order to navigate the challenge that's in front of you, requires you to connect with the part of you that seeks within it. You were telling this a beautiful story on one of your podcasts where a king put a boulder in the middle of the road and everybody's trying to walk around the boulder. Then finally somebody gets there and they move it, and under that was a note and money for him. And he received the gift of engaging with that. And it was so cool because I'm like, yes, like oftentimes the pain, the interruption is a call for us to integrate that forgotten aspect of us. And when we do, we've been running around the boulder, the pain, we've been navigating and avoiding that very thing. But when we actually connect and listen to the pain, we pay attention to it, all of a sudden it's able to shift, change, and integrate. All the energy that it took to walk around the boulder is now no longer being used to walk around, but actually can be fueled and channeled through that area. And now rather than even avoiding what that pain was, you've integrated it, you get all that energy back. You get all that energy back to now focus and grow however you want to. But that is what healing, again, really is that integration of all of these fragmented parts, allowing them to come together and express coherently toward a common vision.
I totally agree with you. And I know that we, in a very fluid way, we move from the conversation on change as something that's happening around us and to us into healing, the second part of what we plan to discuss today. And healing is important because it has brought observation to self rather than always being observing everything around us. Mm-hmm. And through that, if I know that something's wrong, I can pay a little bit more attention to it. And then whereby I set my intention. People at times are also not willing to heal because there is tremendous comfort in where they are at.
Yeah.
It's like someone said that you can't lift yourself with your own bootstraps. It's not going to happen. So you need the outside and you need that awakening. You need that element of Satori that, yes, now I've recognized the need for change.
Yep.
And as soon as I recognize that need, I start to become the observer.
Yep.
And hence become separated from the experience of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
When you said that we are concerned about tomorrow or whatsoever. I don't know your exact words, but the body, I believe, lives in this present moment. It's got its needs in this very moment. Mm-hmm. And luckily, it's very minimal. It's very minimal. You know, a piece of fruit could help you stay focused and full throughout the day. I mean, I'm not saying that you should starve yourself, but it's good enough.
Good, yeah.
And I always joke in meditation that, you know, if you want to eat meat or if you want to eat something, are you capable of, let's say, hunting down a chicken and you know, wringing its neck and culling it and cleaning it and then cutting it up and cooking it? Then by all means, go ahead. If you want to eat a big animal, you want to eat beef, then are you able to go hunt for it yourself? Or just go to the store and buy whatever part of the body that you want and you can eat it. And
right.
Of course, there's no consciousness to it.
Yeah.
Of course, there was an animal that died so that you could satiate your flavor buds.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to enjoy that meat, but are you capable of doing that? Again, referencing the boulder, because that's going to be very detrimental. If all of us were told to grow our own food and to go hunt for what you want to eat, you will see very few people doing that. And a lot of people will start growing mushrooms and carrots and whatever they can grow in the Texas heat and soil. So things would change very quickly. I feel that most of the healing is stopped by the easy access to so much, both for the body and for the mind.
Right.
So healing isn't really happening because it's almost like an unnecessary indulgence.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation, mindfulness, or wanting to find a holistic path to improving this is the last thing on my favorite to-do list. And kudos to you for having spent over 10 years in bringing that cohesiveness, that resonance and understanding of it to people. Let me ask you this. When we talk about healing, and feel free to give me a circular answer or come straight to the point. When people are offering one another healing, that I am going to heal your mind or heal some system error in your body which is causing you pain, and I'm going to make you lay down on a table and use my hands and send energy signals to you, would that work? That's one. And you feel free to answer it the way you want to. Or you're feeling afraid, you're feeling anxious, here, put on a tiger eye or, wear an amethyst bracelet, and you will feel much better.
Mm-hmm.
Or you would rely more on calming the nervous system down and breathing deeply so that the diaphragm may relax and you feel the prana, the elan vital, the life force come back in you.
Yeah.
What would you say to this?
There's a lot in what you were just asking. But to start at the first part, no one can heal another person. We can be there to help support. We can help, bring a certain skill set and expertise to, again, support someone in a process. But the only person who heals is the person themselves. And for example, to think about it a different way, say that there is someone who, for some reason, just never has enough money. They can't pay rent. They can't afford food. They're like living in this challenged state. Then all of a sudden you give them a bunch of money. And so then they go spend it and they're not investing it in, their home or, keep getting their needs met. And then all of a sudden they come back and they need more and they need more and they need more. It's like, okay, well, you can help provide energy for someone. You can help support someone. There's nothing wrong with that. But if the person themselves is operating from a space of like, hey, based on how I'm functioning, these are the apps and programs that I feel like what life, and based on my identity, how that's wanting to operate right now, I'm going to end up in the exact same place that I was before. It provide a temporary relief potentially. But if that person really wanted to make a change, then it's really about how do they then take those resources, assimilate those in order to create growth. But that is on the individual themselves. And maybe not even completely consciously. Like, again, if you're going through a period of breakdown and your system and body is in such a poor place where it's just rapidly depleting, getting something to help stop the bleeding or stop the breakdown in order to keep you alive is absolutely necessary. But again, like I said earlier, it bought you time. It didn't actually allow healing to happen. It created a change. It didn't necessarily create a space of greater level of wholeness. So anytime that someone's coming to another says, hey, I want you to heal me, or someone says, I'm going to heal you, I would be very aware of that dynamic because it's a very disempowering space. It's not honoring and acknowledging what actually heals and the perfection of what's really happening as an opportunity to pay attention and create a greater level of integration for that person who's experiencing it, or from the person who says, I'm going to heal you. I feel like that's a judgment of, whatever you have going on is bad or wrong. And it's like this victim or this villain that needs to be attacked. And therefore the person is a victim. And so I kind of have this model where there is either this villain, victim, hero triad where, okay, if I'm a victim, there's some type of villain and somebody's going to save me. But as soon as that thing saved me, or if it fails, the hero fails, now they're the villain that didn't save him as a victim. It's a whole total disempowering chain. It doesn't create any more capacity or energy for the system. And so anyways, I'd just be aware of that. And I think at some level that's kind of magical type thinking in terms of, well, if I can look at this through this lens of polarity, something's going to take my problems away, where I assume no accountability. And so to also look at this through the lens of like crystals and things like that, it's like on one end, I see that, if this thing is going to fix me or heal me, again, there's no direct credibility or accountability on my part. I don't feel like it works like that.
Yes, I agree. I remember a couple of years ago, I was cooking food and I cut my hand on a tin can all the way to the bone. My daughter looked at me. She said, I think, Dad, you need to go to the hospital. I can see your bone. And at that point in time, I thought that it's better to go to the hospital than to grab my carnelian crystals and hope that I'll heal.
Yeah.
And I did get 12 stitches.
Sure.
And I got stitched back up. But there is a very important aspect here, I guess, to answer my own question, is the system of belief.
Yeah.
I think that would encourage a person into a healthier environment that now, listen, I am starting to do some work. There is a popular Zen story. I don't know if it's popular or not, about this monk and his disciple, and he was learning meditation and all sorts of healing modalities from his master, and the people in the village would make fun of this young man. And they said, well, your master, he doesn't know anything. He says, no, he means the world to me. He says, okay, well, can you jump off this cliff? And, if you have faith in your master, then let's see what happens. And the disciple decides that, you know what, I'm going to do that. So they all go to the edge of the cliff and he jumps. And all the other fellows, they want to run down the path to go and see. And they are pretty much sure that his body is all broken there. But to their surprise, he actually floated down like a leaf and was sitting in a meditative pose. Now, the word got to the master, and he knew that he was a false one. He knew he had no extraordinary powers. They narrated the story to him, and he was shocked. He was like, I can't do that either. But then he went to meet his disciple, and he said, how did you do this? He said, well, I just took your name. He said, well, can you walk on water? There was a lake right there. He said, let me try it. And he took his name and started to walk on water. And the master himself said that, well, if he can take my name and walk on water, maybe I'll take my name and walk on water too. But he drowned. The story is narrated to bring importance to the structure of belief in ourselves, rather than belief on the other person's capability, their capacity to heal.
Right.
That, I think, is why I think people like crystals.
Yeah.
And I say this in all earnestness and all honesty, because we have a crystal store here. And we love that people purchase the crystals, and they are delightful. I mean, before you leave, I'm going to make sure you wear a crystal as well.
Okay, awesome.
But that being said, I feel that it plays a big, important role.
Absolutely.
One last thing before I let you answer this question is, when I go to the doctor, which is rare, I go in with the full faith and belief system already integrated in me, that today starts a good journey.
Yes.
that today I'm going to be healed, not just cured of the symptoms. I go to the doctor with full faith. Last time I went, the doctor just completely took away one of my medications. He says that you don't need it anymore. You don't need it. You're doing good. Let's stop it. I'll prescribe it to you, but let's see how it goes. And you don't need it, and I don't need it. And I think that's the belief system. I wake up telling myself every day, hey, I'm doing good. I don't believe it. Do you feel that that plays an important role?
Yes. Absolutely. So it's like, okay, if you wake up in the day and you're like, I know that today is going to reveal how my life is unfolding in a way that allows me to become more whole. No matter what you see, you're seeing it through that lens now. You know, either you can be a victim to circumstance and whatever is happening as you go about your day, you can blame in terms of all these factors going on outside and around you as being the problem. Whenever you take accountability and authorship and agency for your own life, all of a sudden, it doesn't matter what happens. Maybe you go to the doctor and they say, hey, actually, you have this thing going on. Oh, wow, this is an opportunity for me to become aware of some part I had forgotten. Now, you gave me a marker, you gave me this lab result. How can I now start to do what I need to do in order to support that process that was happening, to allow that to then become more whole and heal? It would be totally different versus just, okay, yes, on one side of that, yeah, you don't have anything. That's amazing. But like, what if you did? Even through that lens would say, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to grow my life practice to an even greater level. Now I get to reclaim a new aspect of myself. But it was that lens. But you go in there and like, well, let's see what happens. I'm going to completely surrender my power. Oh, yeah, look how much more broken I am. Or, oh, if the doctor saved me from that problem. That's a different result, but the mindset has everything to do with that. And yeah, absolutely, belief is huge. And my question to that is, okay, well, who is the you who's exercising that belief? Is it the survival belief? Is it the cultural belief? Is it the family belief? Is it the spiritual, soulful belief? Or in that case, beyond even belief, what's the difference then between belief and knowing?
I can answer that. I feel that it's a spiritual belief system that grounds us. For example, I normally don't even use the word believe. You never say that I believe the sun will rise tomorrow. You don't say, I hope the sun will rise tomorrow. You just know it. Mm-hmm. And I feel that healing begins the minute you realize that, yes, I know this. Yeah. This is right for me. It's the same way like Tyler, that people fall in love. You don't make an assessment. You know, when people are separating from one another, when they are divorcing or breaking apart or decoupling or whatever way you want to put this, the whole state gets involved. Mm-hmm. You have a divorce decree, you have the lawyers, you have the judge, you have, so much time, effort, money that's gone into the legal system. And finally, you have a document, perhaps even more than a document. You have, it's called a decree, I believe. And then there's this whole document where you can't come close to someone, some 100 feet or whatever. Yeah. So there's so much that goes in, but when two people connect, they just know it. Yeah. They don't sit down with bank accounts, BMI, mm-hmm. or, what's your LDL and HDL cholesterol level. Right. Nobody does that. No. You just know it. Yes. So for me, I just know that the sun's going to come up. I just have to, make sure that I am up before the sun comes up and I'm ready to catch the early worm. Like, I got to go, I got to do it. I feel that's where healing begins. And
I feel like that's a sign of coherence. When all of you is on the same page, attuned to the same thing, you know. But if there's competing strategies, sometimes it can be thoughts or even beliefs, but like you want to maybe believe one thing, but there's a pull, but like knowing, it's just like a tuning fork. All of you is in that same rhythm and resonance where it's like, it just is versus something that has to be justified.
True. And that's when I guess people come to you for healing their body, and then they discover, wait a minute, there's a lot more going on here.
And so usually, and again, it's reflecting some level of dissonance. And so, like I said, in the healing process of helping people become more whole, just through connection and invitation, really, versus coercion, manipulation, it's really about recognizing that, the tuning fork of our life is the central processing system. And like with the tuning fork, if you change, for example, like a guitar string, as you change the tension and tone on the guitar string and you strum it, like there is a note that at its most optimal tension, you strum the string, you hear a certain sound. But if there's stress that's put on that string and there's high level of tension or low, like you take off too much tension, it's going to alter the sound that string is able to create. Well, for us, that's your spinal cord, that's your brainal cord. And as you change the tension on that system, it alters the lens through which you're looking at life. And so, for example, when somebody comes in with challenges, we don't see that challenge as the problem. Again, we see it as a result of how they've been participating and organizing life at a certain level. We're not there to change the symptom, fix the symptom. We're not going to save you from that, but we can help your system become more aware of how it's been operating and allow it to choose other, hopefully with one with greater level of awareness and energy and bandwidth. But again, that's where that integration happens, and people can have obviously very physical experiences, but most people report the mental, emotional, like how they're just not even they're not seeing life through the same lens that they were once seeing life. They're seeing life through like a completely new lens. Like we can do things as human beings to have state changes. We can take a drug, or we can have a temporary high. Where, for example, like falling in love, I think that's an amazing example of a state change where you have access to a greater level of richness and awareness, and all of a sudden you can see things with greater clarity. But question, is there a stage change? Is there an integration of the infrastructure, the systems, the programs, and apps that allow you to support now that level of awareness? And so just to touch on this in another way, it's like a lot of times I did it, chased spiritual highs. And the spiritual high was a way of like making myself feel really good. But then all of a sudden I would crash and I would go back to the same shit I'd been doing, or I'd go back with my family and I'm pissed off and but then I want to go back and have the state change again. I had many years of my life where I had addiction to different coping strategies, drugs and all kinds of things in order to like get out of whatever pain was there. State change, but there wasn't an integration. There wasn't a wholeness that then led to a stage change. Healing wasn't taking place. I just found ways to make change. And so now, in recognizing that, fortunately, I love the practice that we've been able to have, because it's recognizing, okay, state change gives you the opportunity to see the doorway, but the integration and the embodiment of that, growing your infrastructure and capacity to live at that level of awareness and walk through that doorway, that is a whole other process. And those who have the greatest success in our office and practice and what our whole community is dedicated to is that, and helping each other, not judging when things are breaking down. And also when people have hit those highs, beautiful seeing what's possible, but it's really ushering that path of integration to be able to live at that greater level of awareness. And I think what's even cool too is it doesn't stop there. That even beyond that, you can heal and you can become more whole. But now there's nothing wrong, so to say, that's breaking down. But how can you now elevate your level of participation and engagement at an even greater capacity than what has been accessible before? And that's where we actually transform into something greater and more. And that becomes a whole other journey, which is really amazing. But to look at the difference between change and healing and transformation, to change form into something greater, requires, again, a full integration with so many amazing skill sets and capacities, where it's like now there's even greater levels of state change that become available.
So, Tyler, understanding so far in what you have explained to us, I come to a realization which I would like to share with you, is that you have truly embodied this own change and healing in your life to transform yourself to where you are right now, and which I always tell people not to become too egotistical is that we are all work in progress.
1000%.
There is so much to learn, and I know that we started with your introduction as a chiropractor and as an educator, but we are also lifelong students of the life and body.
Yeah.
It continues to happen. I was reading just day before yesterday that there is a company, a startup, artificial intelligence company that is going to be using bits and part of the human brain and use the neurons to power the next level of artificial intelligence to give us the answers to questions that we are randomly asking AI all the time. And we are making science reach so far that we have recreated a brain outside of us.
Yep.
But it doesn't have the consciousness that is needed to transform us.
Right.
I can say that, okay, I went to the gym the other day and I was working with these machines, and these machines have clear listings on how to use them and what part of the muscle group it is going to help benefit, so on and so forth. And the AI can educate me on how many repetitions based on my body weight and such can do. But then there is that last part of your repetition. If you want to do the same workout, you want to do the same exercise, and you want to hit the 12th repetition, at 10 and at 11, your body is telling you no, but something in you tells you to go ahead. And that part is where the transformation begins.
Absolutely.
Do you feel that people are willing to transform? And I ask you this all the time. I've asked you, are people willing to change?
Mm-hmm.
And are people willing to allow healing to happen? And are they willing to continue with this as the new basic level of living and continue? That would lead to transformation.
Absolutely. And again, transformation means to change from one form to another. Think about the caterpillar becoming the butterfly. It's like you're now operating at a greater level of awareness in life. And so to touch on whether it was earlier what you were talking about, like, we no longer have to go catch our food and invest all that time and energy and resources into doing that. We can just go to the supermarket. It's more efficient. So our energy can be used other ways. It's more efficient. Or in this case, AI has made our lives even more efficient. It's a way of amplifying the intellect. But are we the intellect, or are we something so much more? And so even doesn't matter, in my opinion, what AI becomes, it is just a tool. It's just a tool. It makes our lives radically more efficient. But one thing it cannot replace is the human spirit, the wisdom. And so it's like, okay, you can operate and having AI assist you in a program, which is, again, intellect. It's wisdom and knowledge, but it can't lift the weight for you. It can't make you get to the 10th rep, the 11th rep, the 12th, the 13th. It's not going to help. It's not going to do that for you. You have to do that on your own. What does it take to hear the comfort programs say, I don't want to go on, and say, I'm committed to growing beyond this challenge to be able to take form at a higher level of capacity? Yes, that could be physical, but it could also be monetary, financial, allowing yourself to create more money and resources in your life as a reflection of value that you're bringing to the community. It could be growing your business. It could be deepening your relationships. It could be that, but there's going to come this edge of comfort. And the comfort is the survival brain saying, but this is the way I've done things. But now that you have this more conscious awareness of like, I know, and I'm ready to accept something beyond that and organize my life around a greater capacity, AI, no one can make that choice for you. That's something that you have to choose and take full ownership for yourself in order to allow that to happen.
So, Tyler, when we are in our meditative world, we call ourselves a Sangha. Sangha is a commune of individual consciousness that is gathering together to become collective consciousness. And the goal of this, if at all there is a goal to meditation, is to access supreme consciousness. We know that we have been separated from this consciousness and we have become scattered as individuals. And like how people say when you go into a corporate office, there's always this word team. Together, everyone achieves more. Do you feel that there is, or in your opinion, is there room and is there a need for that collective capacity for us to contribute to and to also take from that as a collective?
Absolutely. So if a cell in your body operated, the healthiest cell individually operated as an individual, that would cause problems for the rest of the body. There's a collaboration that must happen. And the cell's organization is also recognizing that it's a part of something greater. That individual cell can have unique attributes that it contributes to the whole, but it also receives support from the whole. Everything that we've talked about up to this point has really been looking at an individual change to healing to transformation. But the biggest shift in capacity happens when you realize that your life isn't just your own, that you're a part of a greater collaborative community. And all of a sudden you realize, and as you go through your own transformative journey, that you have these amazing skill sets and gifts that you have, and you have these peak states of awareness, but we're not meant to live at the peak of the mountain. We're meant to come back down from the mountain and help others and help them realize that, really for us to realize that everyone has gifts that they have to share, that we have gifts to give, that there's an exchange as we're here amongst others, that our inevitable goal isn't to function as an isolated member of a community, but to be in community as a member of that community in terms of collaboration and helping the whole be healthier and more expressed. And benefit to that is you also get supported by the community, but it's a mutual partnership that happens here. When we are minimizing and seeing ourselves as separate, our lives are going to break down because we are using our own limited bandwidth and energy in order to navigate life. But when we recognize that we're part of a greater whole and we're collaborating with that, we are now connected to that field, which provides even more energy than what we thought possible for ourselves. Like I said, now the individual living cell is supported, it can live longer and be more adaptable and thrive in a way that it couldn't if it was just working by itself. And so, in that said transformation, what's motivating that initially, I feel like at a level of maturity, we're transforming for ourselves, but eventually we get to the point where we're transforming as a part of a calling to serve to a greater impact on a much larger scale of humanity.
That's beautiful. I love that perspective on life. And I wasn't really sure that this conversation would lead to the collective. How beautiful. And, people would just think of a chiropractor working with the central nervous system, or even more focused on just the spine, and that you don't walk very well and you're putting your weight on your left foot more than the right. And I guess that's what people see.
That's what people see, but it's so much more than that.
And where do people find you? How do people find you? We spoke so much about change and healing and transformation, but we don't know where to find you. So please, can you share a little bit more information about yourself?
Absolutely. Our office is located in North Dallas. It's called Self Unbound, and you can visit us at www.selfunbound.com. You can reach out to us. There's an online portal. You can send our information and even let us know that you heard about us through this podcast. That would be absolutely incredible. Another option to connect with us is through social media. So Self Unbound Dallas on Instagram. But also we have another adventure that we're exploring. It's a podcast called The Coherence Project, and you can find that on YouTube or on Instagram. And you can also connect with us to further that community message as well.
It's been such a pleasure speaking with you today. I enjoyed myself immensely, and there are so many questions, Tyler, that I think that we're going to have you back here very soon. And this was delightful. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, we spoke to Dr. Tyler about much more than him being an educator or a chiropractor. There is so much to life. We understood that change is something that happens around us, we understood that healing is something that happens to us. And we realized that transformation happens through us, not only for ourselves, but for the world that we live in. And you may touch one life, or you may be able to touch several lives. What is the energy that you are bringing to them? That is what the resonance of the spiritual mysticism and your body mind connectivity is. So, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of The Inner Temple. And we are very happy if you would give us a like and subscribe to us and our channel. And if not, just please share this video, because there are a lot of people who are not aware of the magnificent resources that we have here in Dallas Fort Worth. And when we struggle with questions about our body, about our mental health, about so much in life that we are unaware that we don't have to do it ourselves, there is hope, there is healing, and there are people available to help you on your journey.